Don't be fooled about the Permian. Long before the first dinosaurs stomped across Earth, a bizarre and dangerous world thrived, full of predators, flying experiments, and creatures that would make a modern zoo look tame. For millions of years, life was evolving in ways we still barely understand, and most of what we think we know is flat out wrong. In this video, we're uncovering 8 bizarre myths about the Permian. Myths that have persisted in books, documentaries, and popular imagination for decades. From hulking predators with surprising speed to bizarre fish and early gliders testing the skies, the reality of this ancient world is far stranger than the stories you've been told. And stick around, the final myth will completely blow your mind. Number 8. All Permian animals were slow and clumsy. Think the Permian was just a world of sluggish beasts dragging themselves across the mud? Not even close. Many Permian animals were fast, agile, and built for survival. Take predators like Dimetrodon. With powerful legs tucked beneath its body, it could move quickly and strike with precision. Even herbivores had surprising adaptations. Strong limbs, defensive tusks, and armor-like hides. Fossil evidence shows that Permian ecosystems were full of active hunters and clever survivors, not just lumbering giants. Some synapsids even show traits of higher metabolisms, meaning bursts of energy and speed. So the idea of a clumsy, crawling Permian world is a myth. In reality, it was a landscape of movement, stealth, and power, where survival meant staying sharp and fast. Number 7. Synapsids were just big reptiles. At first glance, synapsids might look like oversized lizards with teeth to spare. But don't be fooled, they weren't reptiles at all. Synapsids formed a completely separate branch on the tree of life, one that would eventually give rise to mammals, including us. Unlike reptiles, many synapsids show signs of being at least partly warm-blooded, with bone structures hinting at higher metabolic rates. Some even had specialized jaws and differentiated teeth, perfect for slicing or grinding food. Far from being just reptiles, they were pioneers experimenting with traits we'd recognize today in mammals. So next time you see a Dimetrodon in a museum, remember, you're looking at a distant relative, not a reptile. A family line that conquered the Permian and shaped our own evolution. Number 6. The Permian extinction happened overnight. You've probably heard it described as a sudden catastrophic event, the Earth hitting the reset button in a single instant. The reality? The Permian extinction was a long, brutal ecological crisis unfolding over thousands of years. Volcanoes in Siberia pumped out lava and greenhouse gases, slowly heating the planet. Oceans became oxygen-starved, acidified, and deadly. Ecosystems collapsed gradually, wiping out up to 96% of marine species and 70% of land animals. Life didn't vanish in a blink. It struggled, adapted, and fell over millennia. This drawn-out apocalypse reshaped the planet, setting the stage for new lineages, including the rise of dinosaurs. The myth of instant extinction ignores the terrifying slow-motion devastation that tested every creature's survival skills over thousands of years. Mind blown yet? Smash that like button if you didn't see these Permian myths coming. Number 5. Early herbivores were inefficient. It's easy to imagine early Permian plant eaters as clumsy, barely scraping by on tough vegetation. The reality? Many herbivores were highly specialized and surprisingly sophisticated. Take Diadectes, for example. It had rows of teeth perfectly aligned for grinding, while others sported complex jaw mechanics to chew efficiently. These adaptations weren't just for show. They allowed them to process large amounts of ferns, seed ferns, and early conifers, fueling their bodies and helping them grow big enough to survive predators. Far from being primitive nibblers, Permian herbivores were ecosystem engineers, shaping vegetation patterns and competing effectively with each other. The myth of inefficient herbivores crumbles when you realize that many Permian plant eaters were clever, well-adapted, and far from the slow grazers we often imagine. Number 4. Everything lived in swampy jungles. When people picture the Permian, they often imagine endless swamps and dense jungles. The truth, the landscapes were far more varied. While swampy forests existed, the Permian also had dry deserts, river valleys, and conifer-dotted plains. Predators adapted to open floodplains, while herbivores grazed near rivers or took shelter in forested areas. Even the sail-backed Dimetrodon thrived in drier zones, using its sail to regulate body temperature under the harsh sun. Life wasn't confined to a single environment. It flourished across multiple habitats, each with its own challenges. The myth that all Permian life slogged through wet jungles ignores the diversity of terrain and climate. Life wasn't confined to one environment. It flourished across deserts, woodlands, and wetlands, adapting in fascinating and unexpected ways. Number 3. Permian fish were primitive and slow. You might think Permian fish were simple, sluggish creatures drifting through the waters. In reality, many were highly specialized hunters. Take Adestus, a shark with scissor-like jaws perfectly adapted for slicing through prey, or other predatory fish with streamlined bodies built for bursts of speed. Some had powerful swim bladders for buoyancy, allowing them to glide silently through the water column. Their teeth and jaw mechanics were finely tuned for catching fast-moving prey. Permian rivers and seas were full of action, not stagnant pools of slow-moving fish. The myth of primitive sluggish fish overlooks the diversity and sophistication of Permian aquatic life. These fish weren't just surviving, they were thriving, hunting, and dominating their ecosystems long before dinosaurs even existed. Want more prehistoric jaw-droppers? Hit subscribe and ring the bell. You won't want to miss what's lurking in the next era. Number 2. Flying reptiles didn't exist yet. Many people assume that powered flight among reptiles only appeared with pterosaurs in the Mesozoic. But the Permian wasn't devoid of aerial experiments. Early reptiles and synapsids were already gliding, or making short, controlled jumps, testing the skies long before true flight evolved. Some species had membrane-like extensions along their limbs or tails, helping them glide between trees or over obstacles. These weren't birds or pterosaurs yet, but they were pioneers, experimenting with balance, lift, and maneuverability. Even limited gliding provided a huge survival advantage, allowing escape from predators or efficient movement across fragmented landscapes. So the myth that no flying reptiles existed in the Permian ignores these fascinating aerial innovators. Life was already experimenting with the sky, millions of years before wings took full form. Number 1. All Permian amphibians were small. Ever heard that amphibians were just tiny, slimy creatures lurking in the shallows? Not in the Permian. This was the age of giants like Archaeops, an amphibian that stretched over 2 meters long with a skull the size of a suitcase. Its jaws bristled with sharp teeth, perfect for ambushing prey that dared to wander too close to the water's edge. Far from harmless little salamanders, creatures like Archaeops were apex predators of their swamps and rivers. They could lunge with surprising speed, clamping down on fish, reptiles, or anything unlucky enough to cross their path. Imagine a modern crocodile. Now strip away the scales, make it even stranger, and you've got the picture. The myth of tiny amphibians vanishes fast when you realize some of these beasts ruled their ecosystems. In the Permian, amphibians weren't background creatures. They were kings of the waterways. And there you have it, 8 bizarre Permian myths, all busted. From giant amphibians to gliding reptiles and predator synapsids, the reality was far stranger than fiction. Which myth blew your mind the most? Comment below, hit that like button if you're fascinated, and subscribe for more prehistoric chaos.